So, your teammates suck. They always get ganked, caught, or outplayed by their opponents, forcing you into terrible situations. On top of that, challenger players always tell you to just carry and climb, but it feels like you never see their teammates int and troll the game in the same way. In this video, we're going to show you a different way of thinking about League of Legends in a guide that we felt we had to make after we put in a ton of research into this topic over the last month, where we've been creating a library for our commentary Smurf page, constantly sending challengers into elo hell to show you how to climb out of it. Our findings so far are unexpected. So this is why your teammates always suck. When you load into Summoner's Rift, you have 4 teammates. Now imagine those teammates to be all cows. Yes, cows. Hear us out on this. All your teammates are cows and you are the cowboy. Your job is to get them to the river, or in this case, the enemy nexus. To get them there, a cowboy isn't going to lift them all up with his bare hands and carry them to the nexus. That'd be tough to do unless he's a challenger level cowboy. It's far easier to get them where they need to be if they were instead wrangled up. To become a cowboy, we've narrowed things down to 2 simple questions that you'll want to ask yourself whenever your teammates start running it down. 1, is it my fault? 2, could I have prevented this? So let's jump into what we mean. Here we have a Camille in the top lane. She's fighting Shen and they both drop dangerously low. As she pulls back for a recall, her Fiddlesticks comes to lane gank to try and gank the Shen. It doesn't quite work out, and he agrees to stop the recall, giving the enemy set plenty of time to collapse onto the Fiddle. Camille finishes her recall and teleports back, tries to bail her Fiddle out of hot water, and they both go down. This was a horrible play from this Fiddle and screams jungle diff. Standard luck that Camille would get paired with this terrible jungler inting her lane, right? But if Camille can prevent herself from tilting off the face of the earth and ask herself, is this my fault and could I have prevented this, she'll come up with 2 clear answers. This is entirely Camille's fault that the play went so badly. First, she shouldn't have went in to try and save her Fiddlesticks. If Fiddle dies, it doesn't really matter that much. If she goes in, she certainly dies by using her only escape tool into 2 bruisers with CC. After teleporting back already, she'd give away a kill in the entire wave, which is potentially game losing, and exactly what happened. Second, as we roll it back, we'll see how all of this could have been avoided in the first place. Camille is trading with Shen, but can clearly see that Fiddle is pathing toward topside. If she maintains enough health to gank with, then Fiddle coming top would result in a 2v1 gank onto the Shen. However, she ends up going for one too many trades and can no longer help, having to recall. A better player would have had the awareness that Fiddle is coming top and maintained enough health to make the gank work. In that case, Fiddle wouldn't have been set loose to make this really terrible play by himself, and a clean gank would have been achieved instead. Let's now quickly take a moment to remember our motivation behind this video. At Skillcapped, we have a commentaries page where we send challengers into different elos every week to see how they carry. One filter is by carry level, to see which ones are the hardest carries by our experts. If we had it our way, every single one would be set to heavy carry since they're more fun to watch. However, in reality, for every 5 games that we get, only 1 or 2 of these are heavy, with the majority being light. The reason for that? Well, our challenger always gets the better team, because they don't give their Fiddlesticks the opportunity to int their lane like that. They'll execute the gank correctly. Here's an example of a preventative measure from Hector.
Oh, I haven't leveled Shane. I'm trolling super hard. I'm actually griefing super hard right now. So he may be doing Scuttle, like he went to Krugs into Scuttle. So I will just guard this. Yeah, so I'm just preventing him from getting Scuttle here. It's kind of hard to like fully prevent it though, because Shay goes topside right, but I did kind of delay it, and it gives my bot lane some presence. I'm also warding to keep them safe, so if I just play left side, I don't really need my ward.
So Hector's ward may not have seemed like much, but as he said, it gave his bot lane a break and now they know exactly where Karthus is. If he hadn't done that, the enemy Thresh could have potentially looked for an engage with Karthus and so on. Hector controlled this potential outcome from happening by gaining lane priority and placing a ward to track the jungler. On to the next example, we see that Ahri is winning lane, then dies super easily to a gank near her tower. This is a feels bad moment as a jungler, when your bad teammates feel easier to gank than your opponents do. We all hate this feeling as a jungler, our teammates dying for no reason, giving the enemy jungler a free lead. But once again, we have to ask ourselves, was this Fiddlesticks' fault, or could he have done something about it? For the first question, no, this was Ahri being dumb. She played aggressively for no reason onto an Annie who had her stun at the ready. Not only that, but her flash was also down. She could have very easily stood further back outside of Annie's range to finish shoving the wave. Okay, so it wasn't Fiddle's fault, but could he have done something about it? Let's go back and see what he was up to. After clearing the Scuttle Crab, he looked to clean up a bot lane fight and only managed to burn Janna's flash. Whenever moving anywhere as a jungler, you should always pan your camera around and see what's going on. If Fiddle had done that, he could have seen that Ahri was trying to finish shoving out the wave. Fiddle likely didn't look at the map, or he didn't care about what was going on and went to do Gromp, and so Ahri died. We're not trying to hindsight analyze this Fiddle. Going to Gromp here isn't terrible, but your cows won't get to the river that way. It's not impossible to see that Ahri might get ganked soon. She's pushing into an Annie with no flash. Map awareness is key to being a good cowboy. If you see the opportunity for small detours during your pathing to help your teammates, then you should always consider them. Fiddle could have pathed toward mid, made sure Ahri is safe, then gone to do Wolves and Gromp. This route takes 5 more seconds, but ensures that Ahri is safe. And in this very specific case, it would have even resulted in a likely double kill by how much Ahri stalled out her death. Next up, we have this Kayn. He's doing great, and between him and Orianna, they are carrying this game. He's nearly 3,000 gold ahead of Zac. Kayn is trying to push his lead and is way too far into enemy territory. With Orianna stuck in mid lane and them being heavily outnumbered, she cannot help Kayn and Kayn goes down. So, whose fault is this? Well, Kayn's of course. He was running it down in the enemy jungle with no teammates to back him up. A couple of moments later, while Kayn is dead, Orianna tries to defend the tower. She then goes down as well. Whose fault is this? Well, if you're the Kayn and you want to climb, you should know this is on you. You put your Orianna in the position where she had to play well to defend this tower without dying. But in a vacuum, it's on the Orianna for misplaying. She went for a kill instead of clearing the wave and executed horribly, going down and giving the tower. However, there's someone who is ultimately responsible for both Kayn and Orianna dying. Can you tell who that is? The true culprit behind these mistakes is in fact Lulu. Why is she here? Apparently to watch her Ezreal farm lane against a Graves instead of playing with her team. If she was mid, she could have saved Kayn with ultimate and he'd have gotten out and none of this would have happened in the first place. Depending on which lens you're looking through, everyone was at fault and could have prevented their teammates from playing badly. But especially Lulu, who was far too attached to her Ezreal, who was behind this game anyway. Let's compare this to a light carry Smurf commentary from one of our challenger players, Pocket Rhino. He is actively aware that Zed is in danger even after the spicy 1v1 that happened in mid lane.
If you walk out into the lane, you're gonna get foot ulted, mister. I'm checking this push, just so he doesn't. My AD carry's fine because the enemy bot lane has no mana, because they are still out on the map for some reason.
This is the perfect contrast to the previous Lulu. Pocket knows exactly when he can leave his ADC to make sure that his other teammates don't throw their own leads. Yeehaw, Pocket, you're a real cowboy. Hector made me do that, and I'm not happy. Anyway, moving on from that nightmare, we do want to make sure you're aware that these live action commentaries are available in full over at Skillcapped. We add more of these every week, and the best way to support us is by subscribing. We have over 800 guides, 100 courses, a refund guarantee, and a direct pro coaching service, so there's every reason to join us over at skillcapped.com if you're serious about improving. Jumping back into it, for top laners, one of the most frustrating things that you can experience is watching your teammates lose every objective while it feels like you're powerless on the top lane island. Minutes after losing Dragon, this wild horse is now trying to solo the Rift Herald. As he does, the enemy team collapses on him, pushing him away and then take the Herald for themselves. We clearly see that Hecarim was on a ward the whole time. If you want to do Herald, then use your sweeper or bring a control ward at the very least. Therefore, this is definitely Hecarim's fault and no one else's. But was there a way Tryndamere could have made sure that these situations didn't occur? For the initial Dragon, no. He's running Ignite, which is fine, and was too far away to do anything about it. But the Rift Herald is definitely something that most top laners can impact. As they did Dragon, Tryndamere knew for certain that there were 4 enemies down there. Not only that, but he was stronger than Singed. Instead of running down there to run around aimlessly and blow his cooldowns, he could have very easily just done Rift Herald here and used it to crack the top lane tower to snowball his lead. That way, Hecarim would have never trolled here and lost another objective had Tryndamere just soloed Herald while his teammates lost Dragon. Alright, let's get into every ADC's dream scenario. You've got the wave advantage, you hit level 2 first, and your Pyke misses everything. You both die, and you wonder why you queue for ADC at all. Bad supports are the worst, but there's a reason Challenger players rarely get double killed like this in low elo. You can't make your Pyke play well, but small positioning mistakes make a huge deal in whether you win an early engage or not. Look how far back Kai'Sa is at the moment. As you near level 2, you generally want to move forward. Maybe not too much to scare your opponents away, but enough where you can appropriately follow up. If you notice, as Pyke went in, Twitch is just wailing on him with free auto attacks. Had Kai'Sa been positioned more aggressively, Twitch can't just blast Pyke for free, and he may be more scared to turn for damage here. If Twitch doesn't freely auto attack, neither Pyke nor Kai'Sa die, and maybe they just take a slightly unfavorable trade at most. Alright everyone, hopefully this guide left you with a different viewpoint that focuses more on your own mistakes and less on your teammates' mistakes. If you're the one who is actively leaving your teammates opportunities to run it down instead of playing better yourselves, you'll often feel like you're left with the worst team. By improving your own quality of play, you'll make your teammates' lives a lot easier and leave them in less difficult situations, vastly increasing the odds that they don't run it down and instead get wrangled to the enemy nexus. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.